And this uranium controversy may have been a surprise to many people today, but not for one United States senator. He began sounding alarm bells about Uranium One, that company, back in 2010. He even warned President Obama. And now he's here to go on the record. Senator John Barrasso joins us. Nice to see you, sir.
Thanks for having me, Greta.
I guess the I told you so is not necessarily consoling to you tonight, but back in December 21st, 2010, you wrote a letter to the president, and there are two issues here. One is the Clinton campaign and Clinton Global Initiative, or her campaign, but the other is that Russia now owns 1/5 of our uranium capacity here in the United States as a result of this deal. And you tried to warn everybody.
Well, we did. We tried to throw the penalty flag early on. We did that in 2010. People in Wyoming were concerned that the administration was going to approve this sale. We talked to the administration ahead of time. We wrote to the president right after they approved the sale of American uranium product to a country controlled by Putin and Russia. We were very concerned from a standpoint of energy security for our country and national security, since most of the uranium that we use in the United States, we have to import, that we use for nuclear power. And now you see Vladimir Putin owning 20% of American uranium, controlling that. And we know that Russia sends uranium to people who are not our friends, to our bitter enemies, including Iran.
So what was the response when you wrote this letter back in December of 2010? I mean, it couldn't be plainer that you laid it right out, this particular deal. So what was the response you got when you wrote your letter? Or did you get a response from the president?
3 months later, we heard back from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission.
Not the president.
Not the president. And they said they're going to keep an eye on this. They're going to make sure if there's any permits to export that they'll check into those things and make sure none of this uranium leaves the United States. Well, in fact, uranium, we do know, has left the United States, has gone overseas, and under the direction of Vladimir Putin.
All right. Why do you think that the U.S., with the Obama administration, okayed this deal?
Well, Hillary Clinton had pressed that reset button with Russia just a little earlier that year. So we've had those problems with her trying to, I think, have a new relationship with Russia. But I've never trusted Russia in this area, specifically with our energy security and our national security. And that's why I was so focused on this sale, this okay to transfer American reserves of uranium to the Russians, where they could then do what they want. And my concern is Iran.
Was it to try to curry favor with the Russians? Is that it? I mean, why would we have agreed to this? I mean, and it wasn't just Secretary Clinton who agreed to it. She's part of a committee that agreed to it. But what in the world was in it for us?
Yeah. I don't think anything was in it for us.
Besides the risk, because now we've lost 1/5 ownership of our uranium capacity.
Yeah, I see no benefit to us, and I think it was the administration trying to reach out around the world, show themselves very differently. But I think this administration has been very naive, Greta. We've seen it in Syria, we've seen it in the Middle East, and we've certainly seen it in Russia.
The Nuclear Regulatory Commission says that you can't export uranium from the United States, even if the Russians own this, unless they get a license to do the particular export. Is a nuclear regulatory agency now giving the license for these particular exports to these Russian companies?
They have not given the they were supposed to contact me immediately if there actually even was a request for a license to export.
Has there been a request?
Not that I know, but I know that uranium has left the country. They've got a number of different companies and shell organizations.
But not leave it. Not this Russian company hasn't been able to take out the uranium out of the country. When
you talk to people on the ground, uranium has left the United States, has gone to Canada, has gone overseas, and our concern is it's at the fundamental of American uranium, 20% of our capacity here in the United States. And for nuclear power, we need to import uranium. We've continued to do that. Nuclear power provides about 20% of the electricity for our country. I think there's an issue of national security as well as energy security, and I worry about Iran getting this uranium.
Well, I got to tell you, you did warn everybody.
We're going to stay on top of it, Greta.
I know it's no pleasure in having an I told you so, but you were right. Anyway, Senator, thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.